Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. One of the other stories I did in a flash video yesterday was about the Laffer curve and how Scots are already changing their plans, already moving out of Scotland, already moving to England in order to save tax. And you have to ask, how much worse is that going to get come April when the new tax starts hitting? And also, should England's tax reduce even further? And a story last week about a third of Scots wanting to leave Scotland in total, with half of young Scots wanting to leave. It's all these forces pushing this to happen. And we're going to have a look here, sort of slightly more detail at what was happening with regards to this Laffer curve problem and why it spells incredible bad news for the SNP government, because they will be bereft, and their income from income tax itself will fall rather than rise, which is how they've done their budget, based on a rising take of income tax. And now it's about to fall. Big style. They're screwed, aren't they? But they've done it to themselves. Anyway, let's take a look at this. Yep, so if you watched yesterday's little flash, you'd have sort of the gist of what I was saying and why it was happening. But there is more to it, and I think it is definitely worth sort of expansion on it, because it will indicate the general move, the general impetus and momentum for people to take active actions to negate and eradicate the increase in income tax. And for those in the border region, of course, it just involves a small move further south. And of course, the people who it most affects are the ones who are the most mobile. They're the ones with the capital they can move. They're the ones with the skills they can take elsewhere. And these tend to be the higher paid, and therefore the ones that pay the most tax now. But all that money will soon be going to the Exchequer in London, and not, of course, to Edinburgh. And that is why Shona Robison is a moron. But we've known it for a long time. There's nothing new there. But she fails to understand that unless she wants to put in a North Korean type border, this was always going to happen. So Scots are fleeing SNP tax hikes as English estate agents report boom in high earners looking to move. Critics of Shona Robison's tax increases say the Laffer curve is playing out in real time, with the man who came up with the theory accusing the government of stabbing Scotland in the heart. Now that is a really, really bad thing to hear, when the guy that actually sort of developed the Laffer curve is saying that it's happening and everyone knew it would happen. It's totally predictable. And if you, as the government, did not foresee it, then you are incapable of being a government, because everyone can foresee it. Scots are packing up and leaving to escape SNP tax hikes, it has been claimed. Estate agents in the north of England have reported a boom in people looking to move to the area from north of the border, as the Nats look to place higher burdens on taxpayers. And of course the taxpayers just simply move. There you go. Problem solved. Work in Scotland, live in England, pay your tax in England, lower rate. And even more so, should Hunt reduce tax rates in England in the budget, which is rumoured that there may be a 1% drop. That will create such a differential between the two tax regimes that I think then even more people will do it, and then they are absolutely... I don't even know if she's aware. I'm going to put it that way. She's not very bright. I don't even think Shona Robison is aware of what is about to befall her. Literally don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Hamza Yousaf's government is aiming to introduce a new income tax band, the 6th in Scotland, as part of its budget, which is currently passing through Holyrood. It comes despite warnings it could lead to a Laffer curve, which suggests high taxes actually lead to decrease in public spending, as high earners look to avoid punitive charges. Indeed, the Laffer curve predicts that as you go over this inflection point, so people bear it, then they get to the inflection point, they just stop bearing it and they change their behaviour. Once you get past that inflection point, not only are you not getting the increase in the tax that you were expected, but because people have taken the avoidance you're losing all the tax below that they would have paid anyway had you not increased the tax. And so it's not an increase, it's a major loss. And so your total tax take across the board is lower than if you'd have left it alone. But of course, they're putting all the things that they're doing, oh, we'll spend on this, spend on that, spend on that, based on the figures that they think they're going to get with the increasing amount of tax. That's going to be a major slap of reality in the face of a woman with an IQ of 86 who will go, well, I don't understand it. She doesn't understand much. Anyway, the Laffer curve is named after American economist Arthur Laffer, who worked for the Reagan government in the 80s, and he has accused the SNP of stabbing Scotland in the heart, according to the Daily Mail. He said it will be the poorest in society who will suffer when businesses stop investing in Scotland and move their operations and jobs to a lower tax regime, adding who in their right mind would do what Scotland is doing. That's the trouble. None of them are in their right mind. They don't have much by way of minds. They're all very, very stupid people. But when you take one particularly stupid person and make her responsible for finance, what do you expect? Anyway, estate agents in England say the latest round of PAYE hikes in December's budget has prompted a flood of interest from the high net worth individuals from Scotland, Northumberland, from Scotland, full stop. Northumberland business, it's a very badly designed line there. Anyway, Northumberland businessman Patrick Patton said buyers are monetising the change. They're saying they're going to be worse off if they remain in Scotland, and they've sat down and they've done their sums. I'm very surprised, he said, at how buoyant the market is. We've started the year off with a bang. Because of course you will. And there's Berwick. And that'll be a very popular place because, you're right on the border, but you're on the English side of the border. Your tax rates are lower. It's a short hop up the road if you work in, say, Edinburgh, for example. Who knows? Finance Secretary Shona Robison wants to raise the top rate of income tax from 47 to 48% for those earning over £125,000. The new tax rate of 45% will come in at £75,000, while we reported that the Scottish Green MSP Ross Greer, whose party is part of the government, wants to see a new tax band at every £10,000 people earn. Thankfully, no one's listening to him, not even within his own party, because they all know he is nothing more than a boy in a man's world, stamping his tiny little feet and pretending he's important. And he's not. He's a moron as well. Currently, anyone earning more than £28,850 in Scotland pays more tax than someone on the same salary anywhere else in the UK. And it will get worse. The budget passed its first stage at the Scottish Parliament last week, with the SNP and Greens combining to vote it through. And a very, very piss-poor budget it is. And I'll be looking later and going through all the things. I've been looking through it, and I'm going to do a piece, and I'll tell you the sort of the highlights, as it were, that they've not told you in other reports. So keep an eye out for that. Do hit the button so you don't miss that one. Scottish Conservative finance spokeswoman Liz Smith said the tax hike would make matters even worse when it comes to retaining staff or encouraging to live and work here. Bringing people in. I mean, there's already massive problems with recruitment and retention. Do you think this is going to help? No. If you're a nurse or a doctor, you go, no, no thanks. No, I'll stay this. I'll work in England because I need the damn money. That's why I do the job, isn't it? Anyway, she said it poses a significant threat to future growth, an area where Scotland is already lagging behind the rest of the UK. Shona Robison must heed the siren calls of businesses and economists and redraft her budget, or else our public services will quickly become unaffordable. You won't have any public services because you won't have the money to do it. All the rich will leave, all their taxes are gone. All of a sudden, that budget is an empty statement because there's nothing there to fill it. You've already got £1.5 billion that you claim is your black hole, although I think it's nearer £2 billion. Well, it'll be 3 or 4 or 5 before very, very long. And the entire economy of Scotland will collapse because nobody is going to work there. And remember, if they do leave and they close the business down, that's more people unemployed, less people paying, or fewer people, should I say, paying tax because they're unemployed, more strain on the economy because the government have got to fork out their benefits. That they wanted the benefit system, remember. The SNP fought for the benefit system. So that benefit system now comes out of their money. It's sure it's still out of the Barnet consequentials, but it's more of the Barnet money going on that because they wanted it. Because these people running Scotland are doing their very, very best to destroy Scotland. Coming up. So I hear people say, what's the solution? What's the solution to this massive, massive problem? Simple. It's several steps. Firstly, fire the Greens out of government. Just get rid of them. They're toxic. They're Marxist. They don't want growth. Secondly, get rid of Humza Yousaf and get rid of Shona Robison. And at least for the next 2.5 years until the next election, have someone running the party that understands economics, that understands finances, and that knows that growth is more important than taxation if you want to grow your tax base. Thirdly, get rid of the 55 different bloody tax rates, simplify the code, and lower the tax base. Lower your tax rates. Encourage people to come in, encourage people to stay, and encourage inward investment in the economy. And you can do that through various means, offering tax breaks, offering low rateable values for businesses coming in over time in different areas, encourage and get construction going, encourage house building. That alone will increase an economy 2-3-fold, simply. So encourage these things and grow the economy. As the economy grows, your tax take massively increases, and you can start sorting out the services that are desperately crying out for cash. It's not hard. Put me in charge, I'd have the whole Scottish economy up and running within a year. As long as I was a benevolent dictator, it would be the only way. But of course you're not, because you're going to get all the other parties fighting against it because they've got their little views. They don't want anyone to succeed. It's all minimalist political bullshit. And that ultimately is what destroys countries. It's a little infighting. It's the fact that nobody can agree because that I've got to take a stance in opposition simply because I'm in opposition, rather than thinking actually it's a great idea and we'll do it. But it is a great idea, but it's your idea, so I say no. And that's half the problem you're getting in politics. Anyway, there we go. I can offer a solution, but whether they'll take it, probably not. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, do hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you, goodbye.